the pure sign of a professional here.
He doesn't warn you. He just lets you go merrily on your way. Oh,
Let me
man.
turn my phone off.
And I'm the only girl in this lineup. That's not good. I'm just saying. Not good at all. Thanks, Paul.
Sorry, we're late. We're 3 minutes after.
Wowza.
John's waiting for us. Right, John?
Yes.
John? I assume you're there.
John's there.
Yep.
John Adine, I bet he's watching. This is,
Oh,
on
that
the other
John.
hand, this was one of his first days back at work, so.
Oh.
And the good news is we're not live on Facebook yet, which is our biggest one. That just went over the OpsLens app.
Oh, that would
Yeah,
be better. Yeah, it's just TV. Yeah, good.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
if that's all.
That's all. That's all. Just let me embarrass myself.
Rob, I can't believe you stole your
Anytime.
chair back from me.
And Kevin, you're both quiet and your camera went dark. Amy's there.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Amy
your
just
room went
popped
dark
in.
or your camera went dark.
How about
What
now?
is that? Amy's.
Can you hear me?
No?
Yes, I can hear you, but I'm looking, I think, out a sunroof.
Is my camera back?
How did I-
Your camera is on, Kevin, but your room is dark. It's like it's like the extra light went off.
I'll turn the light on.
Yeah,
Kevin
I'm
forgot
going-
to pay the bill.
I'm taking us live on Facebook, folks.
Better. Good job.
Better?
Yeah, you need that light on.
All right. Yeah, the sun just went behind a cloud.
Was all there was. Yeah.
Amy, I think your microphone's picking up wind noise or something.
Okay, I'm gonna pull over. I'm stopping.
Yeah, yeah, please.
I am trying my hardest to join in.
At least she's not texting and driving.
No,
I am so dedicated.
How she's dedicated. How dedicated is she? She's so dedicated.
that we get the
Okay,
view
sorry.
out her sunroof while she's driving.
I really have to find a place where I can get good cell service because I don't have hardwired internet. So,
Tell me about it.
Okay.
oh, is Rob here? Is Rob
Yeah.
here? I'm surprised.
Yes.
I wasn't expecting him.
Me too.
Okay, and Amy,
Okay.
we've got we're in your slot. We've got your picture.
He's using that picture again. That picture.
But I moved the
Isn't that-
titling. I moved the
Isn't that
titling.
stormy? Isn't that stormy debris?
Wow. And we haven't even started and we're off the rails.
The poor OpsLens people are like, what am I watching? Who are these people? You know, at this point, you're in the Carol Brady spot doing that.
Oh, and Timothy Knight just commented on Facebook. Hi, I came here to listen. Make it good. No pressure.
Amanda, do that sound again.
What sound?
What sound?
I'm not doing
You're
that sound
breathing.
again. I am not doing that sound again. You know, it was like that night.
What was the one about the yeah, I'm trying to think of it. It'll come to
Brown
me right
chicken,
at the
brown
most.
cow.
Thank you.
Brown chicken. Yes, brown chicken, brown cow.
Chicken brown cow.
Are we gonna
Man.
commit this episode or not?
Yeah,
In public.
give me.
He's still working. We're distracting him.
Sure.
Sure,
Can
we
you
are.
guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you
Okay.
sound
All right.
great.
Okay, I'm using a different headset. I'm just testing my mute button.
That's why Paul got me off the show last time. Just testing.
So that mute button was working real well, Rob. Oh no, there's Kevin going, I'm on the radio. Leave me alone. Look at that.
I used the mute button. I was like, Kayla, don't slam any doors.
Yeah, you can. You're like, you watch the headset, and then you can see the body language. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I do believe, whatever that was,
Wasn't me.
that we are ready to start
that
recording
Kevin?
a show.
Yes,
All right, ready?
it was Kevin.
Wait, what did I do?
Nothing.
Rob's
you're-
just blaming it on you.
You're here in the Alice spot, so it doesn't matter. But it's all your fault. Alice did it.
All right. I really think we should probably record a show.
I would think it would keep us busy and from doing things that are worse. So anytime now.
Oh, this is going great.
I'm telling you. Wow.
Oh, and Timothy Knight says 9 people walk into a bar.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom. That's it.
And I haven't even been drinking tonight, believe it or not.
I'm ready to start.
All right. In that case, I'm going to go ahead and click the correct button in 5, 4, 3.
Hey gang, this is Masad Ayub from the Pro Arms Podcast. I'm here to remind you that our podcast is a member of the Self-Defense Radio Network, and I'm going to suggest you do what we do and check out the other podcasts at selfdefenseradio.net.
Treat every firearm as if it's loaded.
Never point a firearm at anything you're not willing to kill or destroy.
Keep your finger off the trigger until you are on target and ready to fire.
Always be sure of your target and what lies beyond it.
Hi, and welcome to the Polite Society Podcast, powered by the Firearms Policy Coalition. We're recording this one on Monday, the 12th of October, 2020. I'm Paul Lathrop.
I'm Rob Morse, and on tonight's show, we'll talk with Kevin Sona about an upcoming Florida Carry event.
I'm John Richardson, and we'll talk about Nancy Pelosi threatening to use the 25th Amendment to remove the president.
I'm Dana Lufer, and the McCloskeys face a grand jury indictment.
I don't know if she can see show notes, so I'm going to flip out. I'm Amanda Suffolk, and in one of our DGUs, we will discuss the Castle Law Doctrine, so climb aboard.
Strap in.
Strap in.
And hang on.
Something like episode 560 of the Polite Society Podcast really does start right now. Okay, and we're back. This is the Polite Society Podcast, believe it or not. It's been a really interesting lead up to going live, but it's Monday, and I can, going forward, pretty much guarantee every Monday we're going to be live at 5 p.m. Central Time, so set your clocks to it. Well, a few minutes either side. Either way, Rob, we're going to start with you. You had a hurricane hit down there, man. How's everything's going?
Yeah, hurricanes come in different sizes and flavors. This one was wet. I'm extremely lucky in many ways. Within 30 hours, we had internet, no power. The floor of my house happens to be about an inch higher than my neighbors. They had from 1 inch to 2 feet of water in their houses, so I just have to call myself lucky. Firearms instructor Tony Simon and I put out an episode of self-defense gun stories, and it was just before Hurricane Delta. It was rushed. The audio is not what I'd like. And after the hurricane, I've been a slave to storm debris. I think that's a washed-up X-rated performer. John, how about you? Didn't she sue the president?
Well, I can't top. I can't, top being a slave to storm debris, but I was a guest on the Save the Second podcast yesterday afternoon.
Sweet.
We talked about the the upcoming NRA meeting of members in Tucson, which will be on Saturday, October 24th. Tickets have closed out. They're limited on the number they can hold in the room due to COVID. But if you can be in the area, you will still have the opportunity to vote for the 76th director. So there's that. Amy, how are things down in, I guess, Texas now?
Amy, are you
Or
there?
not?
Did we lose
Or
her?
not?
Let
We
me
just
go
misplaced her.
I believe your audio is on my system. We should be getting something. All right, let's. Hopefully we get her back. Dana, what's been up with you, man?
Well, another week gone by. I've been doing some cleanup in my basement. We had a drain backup, so I've been using the carpet cleaner to clean up the water. Hopefully we got that fixed. Just finished this last week the gun belt I was working on. Learned a few things during the process. It's not perfect, but for a first attempt, I would say it's not too bad. Amanda, how are things in eastern Pennsylvania?
Dana, can I ask you a question about
Yeah.
gun belts?
Sure.
After I wear mine for a while, it looks like a serpent, right? When you're
Right.
making your own, do you start it that way? Or do you say, nah, it's just start straight and it'll look like a serpent later?
I started it straight and
All right.
doubled up with, I think I used 78-ounce leather, so it's fairly thick. So hopefully it'll stay straight.
Sorry, Amanda.
So
That's okay.
Amanda,
So I spent the weekend at the Rod of Iron Freedom Festival. This is their second year for this festival, and it is growing by leaps and bounds. Last year, they had just shy of 3,000 attendees at their very first attempt. And if they don't have 5,000 this year, I will be absolutely amazed, because there was a lot of people there and they had a lot of hang time. They hung and they moved around and they saw the seminars and everything. It was great. There will be some videos popping out of there soon. The entire festival, there was some really good stuff that happened over the course of the weekend. And if you get an opportunity to see some of those videos, you will absolutely love what you see. And if you have an opportunity to schedule yourself to go to the festival next year, I'd strongly recommend you do it. So, Paul, what's going on with you and Susan?
Well, we're already late for break, but I'm gonna take a couple minutes, and Kevin Sona is gonna be our guest. He's already online waiting for us, and Kevin, I'm gonna apologize to you, man, because we're gonna take just another couple minutes here. This is a pretty momentous week for me. I finished my trucking career this week. I've had issues with diabetes. I've had diabetes for over 20 years, and it's been getting a little worse. But I've been, for most of 20 years, been able to control it very well. And DOT physical this week didn't work so well. And my medical card for driving truck expires tomorrow, and I cannot get another one. I want to take everybody back, if I could, about 21 years ago. Just about 20 and a half years ago. It was the spring of 19 and a half years. Anyway, it was the spring of 2001. And I went to tell my mom that I was thinking about going to trucking school. I explained something. Up to that point, I was a kid. I was even into my 30s. I hadn't really grown up yet that much. And I told my mom, look, I know this guy that drives truck for a living, and he makes a lot of money. And I love driving, and I'm thinking about going to driving school. And she told me, well, you do that, but you promise me something. You promise me that you'll stay in trucking for 25 years. I did. I promised. Didn't make it. Sorry, Mom. We lost Mom a few years after that. If you're out there somewhere, Mom, I tried. In 2 weeks from tonight, we're going to be making a major announcement. And for anybody thinking financial issues, I'm going to be covered. I'm all right. There's an announcement coming with the show. Things are okay. But I'd be lying right now if I said that my final drive, which was Saturday morning, was an easy one. I shed a lot of tears that morning, and it's still, man, you do something for 20 years, and it becomes a part of you, becomes part of who you are. Setting that aside is not easy, and so that's what's occupied my week. Is that I've been. Oh, wow, there's some noise coming from somebody. I've been just dealing this weekend with being home. Susan's been dealing with me being home. and we're trying to make things work. So that's kind of what's going on. So I'm going to try one more time before we throw to break. Amy, are you there with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. I'm going to let you finish up and let us know what's been going on with you since the last time we had you on the air.
Thanks, Paul. Well, I've just been working a lot and obviously trying to get good internet service. I really just been working. One thing that I did cool this week was I went to Texas Gun Experience, which is based right outside of Dallas, and I got to shoot a minigun. And I mean, I've shot a lot of guns in my life, and I was honestly like giddy and excited about this one. It was just so cool. But that's been the highlight of my week, I guess. Other than that, I've just been, seeing what everyone else is up to. And I noticed, Paul, I was listening to your story. I came in when you were telling your trucking story, and it is very, it is definitely bittersweet. I could tell by your voice, and I know what it's like to close a chapter of a career. And so, yeah, I just wanted to say congratulations to you on that. But I don't think you should think that just because you didn't make it to 25 years that it was anything but a success.
Well, that's right, but it's always been for me, a promise is a promise, and that's something you don't take lightly. And so, yeah. Anyway, we are starting to get social media comments. Susan Lathrop, somebody says, and dealing with him ain't easy. And I will absolutely second that. All right. I told Kevin that we'd go to him at 5:15 Central Time. It's now 5:22. I think we're just going to go ahead and jump to break. When we come back, we will be talking with Kevin Sona about a spring get-together. That really sounds promising. Hang on, folks. We'll be right back with that right after this.
This portion of the Polite Society podcast is brought to you by the Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network. If you carry a defensive handgun, you need protection from the aftermath of prosecution. Even if you do everything right, you can be the victim of an overzealous prosecutor or even be falsely accused. That is where the ACLDN comes in. They provide immediate assistance when you need it most. If you find yourself under arrest, they immediately pay bail money and the retainer for your attorney. Additional funds are available for trial and civil proceedings. Beyond the money, they have far and away the best team in the industry, providing you invaluable information and training DVDs that are included with your membership and who stand ready to work with your lawyer on your defense. People like Masad Ayub, John Farnham, James Fleming, Tom Givens, Emmanuel Capelson, Dennis Tuller, and led by network president Marty Hayes. Initial membership is only $135 for your first year, and you get 8 incredible training DVDs and other educational material when you join. If you don't have tens of thousands of dollars to defend yourself at your disposal right now, you need to be a member of the ACLDN. Go to armedcitizensnetwork.org and become a member today. And please mention that you heard about them on the Polite Society podcast.
All right, we are back. This is the Polite Society podcast powered by the Firearms Policy Coalition. Joining us tonight, late, but that's my fault, is Kevin Son. Kevin is the District 5 coordinator, I believe. Is that right?
That as well as director of Florida Carry, one of the board of directors.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, and I really need you to speak up, dude. You are very low.
Sorry, also one of the board of directors for Florida Carry.
Very cool. Well, the reason I wanted you to come on tonight, I was able to, last February, we had I got to try one thing here real quick. Give me just a second. There we go. Audio just cleared a lot. Last February, I got to do a event for Florida Carry, and it was a camping event. It was a rally. It was a speaking event. It was all kinds of fun, and you're going to be doing that again in the age of COVID. It's kind of brave, but you've stuck it out there. You've got a March date, and you've got a hell of a group of people that you've got scheduled to come, man.
Yeah, this one was a lot harder than I even want to admit. There were no campsites available in the state of Florida. Period. Through the every state campground was booked. And one night, Sarah found 11 sites available at Ross Prairie and Denellen, and we ended up booking that. And within minutes of contacting people, we had pretty much the speaker lineup set in stone. It was pretty fast the way it happened. So I'm thankful.
Very cool. Very cool. So let's talk about this coming one. You've got a heck of a lot of people, including a couple people that are right here, right now, that you're going to be having join you. Who have you got on the list so far?
Well, two of the individuals are some bucket list people that I was really trying to get for the last few years. One is your own Amanda Suffolk, also with I Am the Target Radio, and Amy. So we have Amy Dillon coming, and I'm super pumped about that and what she's going to bring to our guests for that weekend. Cheryl Todd is one from Gun Freedom Radio, who I love to death. Amanda and Cheryl and Amy are pretty much my go-to when it comes to 2A advice on anything I'm doing. We have Rob coming out as well, and I have some things scheduled for Rob to do. We're not ready to announce them yet, but there's a lot of individuals that are also coming out that aren't guest speakers that are big in the 2A community that will have a role to play during this event. So we have Dan Wass, author of Good Gun, Bad Guy. I think 1, 2, and 3. So we're pretty stacked with individuals on there.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and open this up to my team here. I've got some technical things I'm trying to take care of on my end. Go for it, folks.
Kevin,
Okay,
can you tell us? Oh,
Go ahead, Amy.
sorry, Amanda.
It's okay. You go.
No, I just wanted to ask Kevin, 'cause this is the first time I'm attending this event, and so I just kind of want to know the history behind it. What's the purpose? Who's it for? And what gave you the idea? Like, how did this idea for this camping event come about?
It really started just as a fellowship, just to get some members of Florida Carry together and just kind of camp for 2 days during one weekend. And it turned into something else where a gentleman by the name of Terry Power, who was running for one of the House districts here in Florida, asked if he can come and speak at the event. And it just kind of got gears going in my brain there. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. This could be something. And I kind of always say it's kind of like the Gun Rights Policy Conference, except in the woods. So that's kind of the I can describe it, but it's growing. It's growing to the fact where I have individuals looking out saying, "Hey, how do I become a part of this?" So the work on trying to organize guest speakers kind of is easy now, and I'm thankful for that, and I hope it continues.
We continue to get social media comments coming in. Brent says, "This just interrupted the Jackal YouTube rabbit hole that Kevin got me started on." There's got to be a story there, but is it safe for a family podcast?
Yeah, what's the rabbit hole?
So it is GRPC backwards. Rather than having 120 speakers and now being a virtual event, this is face to face. So you'll have a dozen speakers, maybe 18. Except it gives you lots and lots of times to meet these people, to ask questions. So for me, it is the best part of GRPC, the informal conversations you get to have.
Rob, you're absolutely right. And what happens on Saturday when we hold the speaker portion of the event is great. That's a lot of fun. But as you know, that Friday evening, sitting around a campfire with a couple dozen people, is really, really fun, and we learn an absolute lot from it. And on top of that, then Saturday evening, after the event, everyone's pumped up. So we have individuals that come back and hang out with us. But I have plans for the next few events coming up.
And I gotta say, man, that Saturday evening, there's a beer there that, oh my God, I think it kicks like a mule. If it's beer, it's just barely.
Yeah, that was homemade beer by our Region 1 lead, Stephen Paris.
That explains a lot.
So go ahead.
I'm sorry, Amanda. I just wanted to add also one guest that we have coming out to the event that everyone will know who he is if you're involved in 2A community, and that's Eric Pratt. So how we managed to get Eric Pratt with Gun Owners of America to be there still kind of blows me away. It's kind of like getting Rick Ector to come down last year to come down to the event. So I'm just I want everyone to leave that event with more ammunition as knowledge and be able to use that. That's my only goal. That's my goal for the entire event.
So are you going to live stream it so people can see it too, or they have to come, and so you're motivating them to be there and to grow the size of the event?
We've never live streamed it. The one park at Rainbow Springs we hold the speaker portion of, phone service is pretty spotty there, and they don't have Wi-Fi in that park. But we'll attempt it. We'll try it. I definitely want to try to go. You have recorded it. We have. They're on our Florida Carry Facebook page. YouTube channel.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so somebody can catch each piece of it. So when the speakers speak, overall, how many hours is your event as you're planning it, so that you've got so people are looking at their day? How long is it?
Saturday, we pretty much have about a 6 to 7 hour window to get everything in, and that includes lunch. So we're barbecuing. So we're making hamburgers and hot dogs for everyone there. It's totally free to attend the event, but we have a pretty short window to get everyone in. The only fee for the event is the $2 fee to enter the park. That's out of our hands. But everything else is free. And where else are you going to go besides GRPC to get the pretty much the heavy hitters of the 2A community?
Do people have to register for the event?
I have a Facebook event set up on YouTube. Set up on Facebook, which I'll share. But it should be on our website here in the next few days. So that's kind of the only way I can kind of track what the numbers are. Last year we had over 200 in attendance. This year my goal is 500.
All right. Well, what I'm going to do, if you don't mind, Kevin, I'm going to have you hang out for one more segment, and we're going to jump to break, and we'll be right back with more with Kevin Sona right after this. This portion of the Polite Society podcast is brought to you by The Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant is designed for a broad base of citizens that range from students that don't own a gun on up to advanced students that train often. The Complete Combatant offers several different courses that build upon each other, from avoidance, using verbal commands, and preparing for contact, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, your 911 call, interacting with the police, to even dealing with the legal system in the aftermath. The Complete Combatant courses are a layered approach for all levels of experience that will walk you through all the many stages of decisions while developing a game plan tailored to your skills and your everyday carry. Please visit www.thecompletecombatant.com and make sure you mention this ad to receive 15% off. Again, that's www.thecompletecombatant.com and mention the ad for 15% off. All right, we are back. We're still with Kevin Sona. This is a Polite Society podcast powered by the Firearms Policy Coalition. Kevin, when you very first started this a few years ago, there was some open carry to it. Last year, there was an issue where in this particular park that might have been an issue. What's the status for coming up for 2021? Is this going to be an open carry event? Is this going to be? It's probably better if you don't. What's the status there?
Here's the reason why it's open carry if you are camping. If you are legitimately camping, you can open carry. But when we go to this park, we cannot open carry at the speaker park which is Rainbow Springs, because we're not camping at a Rainbow Springs campground. We're at Ross Prairie campground. It's a little further distance, but they're not associated together. So if you're camping at the Rainbow Springs campground, you can then go to Rainbow Springs Head Spring, and you can open carry. But that's where no one will be open carrying at Rainbow Springs this year, because we're not camping in one of those parks.
Okay. I got to say that Rainbow Springs, man, that's the same location you had last year, right?
Yep.
That is a gorgeous, gorgeous park.
Yep.
I really, really like that facility. I want to remind our viewers that if you have a question for Kevin, you can go ahead and comment on the live video. We'll ask him the question while he's on the air with us. I'm going to go ahead and open it back up to my staff again.
Okay, so my question is, does the event have a theme? Do you have something that everybody's speaking about, or is it just a random 2A free-for-all?
We are doing it. Our theme is pretty much going to be freedom. But we're also, I'll announce it now, with a lot of the individuals that are coming out to the event that aren't speaking, such as Rob Morse is not speaking this year, but he will have a major role to play. And that role is Rob's going to sit on a panel, hopefully. I think I've asked him. I don't remember if he responded a yes, though. But anyway, Rob, it's open to you. So we're going to have a round table, basically a panel set up, and it's going to be the importance of the state 2A organizations and getting active in your community as gun owners. That's going to be the theme for that. And I'm also excited to say that we have a few people that are flying in as well. Gina Roberts is going to be on there, and the panel will be very diversified, and we'll talk about that. It'll be getting involved in the 2A community, how the 2A community is open to everybody. I'm hoping to have Rick Ector on that panel, because Rick's coming out to the event as well. So there's a lot of more details I'm still working out. What do we have, 5 months yet of planning? And there's a lot more that are in the works. I'm hoping to get some other individuals out that are on this call right now. So we'll see how it works out.
Kevin?
So, Kevin? Go ahead, John.
I was going to say, when you were describing, whether you could open carry or not open carry in Rainbow Springs, it really sounds like the carry laws in Florida, other than concealed carry, are pretty convoluted.
Yeah, they are. They really are. The only way you can open carry in the state of Florida, besides on your own property or your place of business, is if you are engaged in hunting, fishing, camping, or target shooting, going to and from those expeditions. So it's pretty confusing on what you can. Like, we had individuals that came out to the Rainbow Springs State Park last year, and I was open carrying. Craig DeLuz was open carrying, who was also speaking again this year. And we were open carrying because we were camping. And we were camping in a park that's associated. So people are like, well, I thought you couldn't open carry. Yes. Sorry, you guys can't legally. So they kind of understand it then, and so we'll I don't think anyone will be open carrying this year unless our attorneys have a different opinion of how the statute is written.
What's the chance of Florida's laws being changed so that open carry is legal?
It's going to take a lot of work, and it's going to take gun owners in the state of Florida to get active. And I keep saying, on a serious note, I keep saying it can't be the same individuals over and over again. We have to get people active. We have to get people to Tallahassee. We have to get people calling their legislators, their representatives, and they really have to do something. I keep saying, like Florida Carry, there's 6 board leaders, directors, and we have 11 regions, and it can't just be the same individuals all the time. We have to get more people involved. That's on the national level. So yeah.
Well, Kevin, I was going to ask you. Yeah, I was going to ask you what, there's so many new gun owners in the last few months. I'm sure a lot of them are from Florida. What is Florida Carry doing to reach out to some of those new gun owners and possibly get them to these events so you can talk about how to get involved in, advocacy for gun rights and things like that?
We're getting more active on social media, on the different platforms of social media, such as YouTube. We are starting to reach out more and go to more gun shows here. Some of our region leads were at an event the other day, and they did some sign-ups. The other one was Florida Carry sent me to Detroit, and I attended Rick Ector's event. And I will tell you, that was an eye-opening event, which I will say it again, that was the most rewarding 2A event I've ever been a part of in my entire life. And I've been to a few GRPCs, but what was neat about Rick's event was it wasn't the choir. We weren't talking to the choir. We were talking to new individuals, and there were so many new gun owners, and it wasn't about politics. And a lot of the ladies I spoke with I didn't bring up politics, but I said, listen, if there's a politician that is looking to take your Second Amendment rights away, they can't be trusted. And 99% of them agreed, but we'll see where that goes when they pull the voting lever.
We're getting some more social media coming in. Charlie Chambers says, Kevin, what is your favorite memories or a story about the event? Great question, Charlie.
You know what? I had our second year we held the event. I had Masada Ayub out there. How we pulled that off, that was pretty crazy. But getting Rick Ector out there was another one. So I'll have some more favorite memories. There's quite a few of them. I think all the fried turkeys. That's another one.
All right. Anybody else got something for Kevin?
Well, Kevin, you mentioned you had 11 camping spots. I bet those got all grabbed up right away.
Good question. I appreciate the question, actually. Perfect. They are not all wrapped up. What I am doing right now, like I said, we still have 5 months. Right now, my whole thing is let's get the board of directors in their spot, get all our guest speakers, more importantly, in their spots, the region leads, their families, and then I will open up the remaining spots to our participants that have come back year after year. And then from there, I'll have more spots available, and then I'll open up to our members of Florida Carry.
Now let me ask this. Go ahead, Amanda. You first.
Let me go first. Okay.
No, you went first last time. I want to describe camping down there. If you're a snowbird This is your event. Weather's fantastic. Did we see mosquitoes? I don't even think we did. It was very comfortable.
Not even a fly,
Amanda,
Rob.
please tell me.
Okay, so all I was asking was that we do a lot of kind of group camping, and in a lot of cases, they allow you to have like a motorhome and then a tent or some extra stuff. So they'll allow you to double or triple up. Mm-hmm. So those 11 spaces will give you how many different people there or different unique spots.
It is 8 people per site, 2 tents, or an RV and a tent. Now, that 8-person number, you're not hearing it from me, but I've heard it's been stretched before. I'm just saying.
Just in case.
I have visions of the clown cars at the circus.
Yes.
It's got to be a big
I know
tent,
some of those
and you're
clowns.
sleeping like kittens in a box. That's it.
Yeah. Well, so basically, my goal is if we can get 8 people per site, that's 88 people camping. The highest number we've had so far, I think, was 40 camping. So we're doubling it, more than doubling it. So, and I know an individual, Amy and Dave will be driving down. The Parkinson shooter, Shaky Dave. I always feel weird saying that. I feel like I'm disrespecting the guy, but that's what he calls himself. But Shaky Dave will be attending the event and speaking at the event. So they're coming down, and right now we are trying to arrange them to come down one day a little early so they can set up. So we're trying to make everything easy and make it happen.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
I know Rob's here, so Rob knows the event. So Rob can kind of tell you it's very laid back, very relaxed, but at the same time, it's exciting. We get into some really good conversations.
So it's very much like GRPC, but you don't have to tip the bartender.
True.
Well, and some of the food that gets served there, I mean, this is a true camp out. They have more food. I swear to, you could feed
Don't
the
go to
5th
lose weight.
Yeah, you could feed the 5th Cavalry on what is being served up there. And every time you turn around, do you need some more food? Try some of this. Hey, why don't you try that?
No. Sarah and I have come up with a menu already. So Sarah's like, I'm doing the menu. I said, all right. So within like 30 minutes, she's like, okay, this is what we're doing. Friday evening, we're doing pulled pork sliders. So we're making all the food. So we're doing pulled pork sliders, coleslaw, and potato salad. That's Friday. Saturday morning, we're all getting up and we're making a giant scrambled omelet for everybody. Scrambled omelet because I'm not making 88 individual omelets. So we'll do a giant scrambled omelet. During the speaker portion of the event, it's hamburgers and hot dogs like we do every year. And then Saturday evening is where the fun begins. We are doing, I think, 4 to 5 deep-fried turkeys, a ton of sweet and spicy Italian sausage, grilled pineapple, and any leftovers we have.
Nice.
So we're pretty decked out for the food-wise thing.
I'm excited for the food.
I will add this. The firearms firm, which is out of Orlando, Katz and Phillips, they are donating the funds for the food. So I am grateful for them to do that.
And that's not a small chunk of change.
That is a huge expense. Yep. So. And
right.
Sunday morning is an idea for breakfast from last year. If you guys remember what happened with breakfast last year, Rob will tell you, was I forgot breakfast. And Sarah ran and saved us with a bunch of, I think, 50 sausage McMuffins. So my plan is, you know what, let's do it again. Let's do it again Sunday. Let's try to do McMuffins. So we'll see.
Okay, give me 1 second here because I want to pop this in so everybody can see it as well. We're getting more social media commentary. Rob Pincus says, hoping to bring young lady Pincus down to the event in March.
Awesome. Welcome. Bring the whole family.
Sounds like a plan.
It's very family friendly. That's the other thing I want to get off. It's very family friendly.
Absolutely, it is. It's also, if I remember... Go ahead, Amy.
I was just going to say, young lady Pincus is a celebrity in her own right.
Right.
And if I remember right, it's not only family friendly, it's kitten friendly from last year. I think Dr. Adine can attest to that one. He got a friend camping there on Saturday.
That cat just showed up and we ended up feeding it. I forget, I don't know, canned something. It ended up eating, but it ended up in my tent that night. And then someone from the park. I got pictures of him sleeping on my chest in the tent. But someone from the park took the cat and gave it home. So that was cool.
We're coming down to just a minute left here. If somebody wants to attend the event, I know you've already got it set up on Facebook where the event is live. But is there a place going forward where you're going to be giving out more information?
I plan on doing a lot of live stuff. We're going to be doing some more podcast and media interviews. But our website, www.floridacarry.org. So that would be the best way.
Okay, very, very cool. Well, Kevin, again, we're coming up on the end of the segment, so I'm gonna say thank you for joining us. I'm gonna be letting you go, but again, man, I'm really hoping I can make it this year. I cannot promise anything right now. Yep. Things are absolutely in flux in the Lathrop household, but I'm really hoping to see you in person come March, man.
So do I, and you know, brother, you're always welcome.
Absolutely. Folks, we are going to step aside to break, and we've got a really heavy news segment to come. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to step aside to break. We're going to hear from Concealment Solutions. We'll be right back right after this.
This portion of the Polite Society podcast is brought to you by Concealment Solutions. Jason Christensen makes the most comfortable inside the waistband holster on the market, bar none. The Black Mamba. Some of the other products offered are the Sidewinder outside the waistband holster and Python gun belts. Every product that Concealment Solutions makes has unsurpassed craftsmanship that shows in the fit and finish of the product. Visit concealmentsolutions.com to view all of the products available, and you can get 10% off your order when you enter the promo code POLITICS in the promo code box at checkout. That's concealmentsolutions.com.
All right, welcome back. This is the Polite Society podcast powered by the Firearms Policy Coalition. This is our news segment. And boy, when this thing broke this week, our first story we're going to be covering, I absolutely knew that we needed to cover this one. The 25th Amendment, basically what that is, it came about, if I'm remembering correctly, when John F. Kennedy was assassinated. And it gives a way for, if a president is still living but incapacitated, for the vice president to take over or to go down the chain from there. It's in that amendment where the Secretary of State was moved from third in line to fourth in line, and the Speaker of the House became third in line. Well, now Nancy Pelosi this week has said, well, we're going to be invoking the 25th Amendment, and because obviously Donald Trump doesn't know what he's doing, he's not capable, and we're going to remove him from office. And this, in my opinion only, Paul Lathrop, that's getting very close to treason. There's obviously no mental faculties that are missing here. This is just a power grab. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. What does anybody else think?
I see two things here, Paul. This is planting the seed for Harris to supplant Biden. Oh. It's planting the seed for any opposition party, if they have both the House and the Senate, to question the president's competence. What it also may do, and that San Fran Nan may have forgotten, let's do a competency test on the members of the House and Senate because the was it the Senate or House physician has openly admitted that he gives Alzheimer meds to elected members. John, what do you think?
Well, I got to agree with you 100% that I don't think the goal is so much Trump, unless Trump is reelected. The goal is they're assuming that Biden will get elected, and this will be the quick, easy, dirty way of supplanting Biden and putting Harris in office. Right. Just today, I'm going to be blunt. Whoever decided to put Joe Biden out on the campaign trail is committing elder abuse. He was giving a speech today, speaking, I wouldn't call it necessarily a speech, and he talked about, he's running for the Senate. And then he couldn't remember.
Today?
Wow. He said, that's why I'm running for the Senate, not the presidency, but the Senate. And then he couldn't remember Romney's name. He said, that Mormon guy that was kind of running in 2012. I kid you not. It's really sad. If he had been a client of mine, I would have been calling our elder and vulnerable care center to reach out to whoever is the trusted contact. But would you trust Hunter, or would you even trust Dr. Jill? So, Dana?
Well, I have to agree with both of you. Biden, like you say, is Hunter elder abuse, and from all the commentators that I've seen out there, this commission that Pelosi wants to create would not be to remove Trump, but would be for moving Biden out of the way and putting Harris in. The law wasn't intended as for mental capacity, really. I thought it was more intended if the president was going to be out of commission for medical reasons. In the case of Reagan, he turned over power to George H.W. Bush after he was shot and was going to be in the OR for a period of time. So her wanting to create this commission to commentate on the president's mental prowess, I think, is not taking it to what the amendment was originally proposed for. Amanda?
Well, John, you'd said, can we trust Dr. Jill, right? She wants to be First Lady so very bad that it's like put him out there and at least get a shot at it. I really believe that because she has said, he's a stroke victim. Don't pick on him. He's a this, he's a that. Well, he's the candidate for president. And so he's fair game. That's how that works. But would somebody in the know explain a little more, because we've started out this whole segment assuming that everybody knows what Nancy said and what they're proposing, and I don't believe that everybody does. So can somebody explain that just a little more?
Well, look, one thing I'm gonna lean on Dana because he actually wrote the write-up for this. I'm gonna go ahead and read the write-up, but first thing I'm gonna do is put up Brent's Amsden's comment on social media. Is it true the 25th Amendment requires the vice president's cooperation for enactment? And I believe it does. But let me go ahead. Give me just a second to pull. My show notes are on a monitor that is way off to my left. And I'm going to bring them to my center monitor here so my old eyes don't have to stretch quite as far. But the write-up I have is the 25th Amendment allows the vice president to become the acting president in the case that it is determined the president is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. Ronald Reagan and George W. Bush have exercised the amendment when they were going into the hospital in the case of Reagan after his assassination attempt. The amendment allows Congress to create a body to sign off on a declaration that the president is unfit for office. The declaration has to be made by the vice president, either a majority of the cabinet or this body, and then sent to the Speaker of the House and the President pro tem of the Senate. The House and Senate would have to pass the bill, and POTUS would have to sign it. While it is unlikely that Pence would sign off on a declaration, it is conceivable that Pelosi and the Democrats are using the president's coronavirus as a smokescreen to get the bill into law and then use it if Trump loses to Biden to move Harris into a position to assume the presidency. Now, the other thing go ahead, Amanda.
I still don't quite understand. I mean, we have a 25th Amendment. So what is the difference between what we have and what they're proposing? Or are they not proposing anything? It's just what's there, and she's going to invoke it. I'm confused.
I think what she's doing, I was going to say, within Section 4 of the 25th Amendment, where it says the vice president and majority of the cabinet, or such other body as Congress may by law provide. That's what she's trying to do. Other body by law that Congress may provide. She's proposing a commission that would make the determination.
Okay.
So
she is
that would bypass
provoking a mod. It's a change. I'm sorry, Amy. Go.
Yes.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. So what she's proposing is to bypass that requirement that the vice president sign off on it. Because when I heard that news,
Yes.
I took it as two ways. I took it as they're either going to try to use Trump's coronavirus, that maybe try if he gets reelected, or I should say when he gets reelected. But I also thought they're also I think that ever since it was announced that Harris was going to be the vice president to Biden, I think it's always been their motive that Biden is not going to survive, the whole 4 years in terms of capability, in terms of his mental capability. And so I think that either way, they're looking to either move Harris up or get Trump out.
That's a start, but there's more, I think. Speaker Pelosi said Trump remains incapacitated due to coronavirus. Well, we're facing an election. She has a friendly media who will repeat that ad nauseum. Pelosi wants to fill the media with questions about the president's health. And they'll do it. They'll do it for her. Dana, did you have something?
Yeah, the vice president would still have to sign the declaration. They could not go around him in order to remove the president. It would require that he put his signature on the declaration and then also go to either the cabinet or this commission that she's proposing to have them approve it as well.
Dana, what keeps her from having this commission report out that Trump is incompetent and needs to be removed for the security of the country? Well, the vice president defied the rule of this commission. That will then play in the media. And I would guess she would like to do it before the election.
But to do that without the vice president would be unconstitutional.
She wouldn't have to get it through.
So what? So what?
Well,
she can play it 24/7 in the news media.
Well, that's
You
fine.
think that's
with
not
the
a
news
victory
media,
for her?
but it could. Well, yes and no, because then it would come down to the Supreme Court ruling on it. Because I'm sure.
No.
Not according to
By the way,
amendment.
Dana, can you raise your mic?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
What it's going to come down to is that both houses of Congress have to agree to it with a 2/3 vote.
Mm-hmm. And the House
or bodies otherwise selected by Congress. So what if they choose a bunch of Democrat senators to sit on a joint body?
But thereafter, it's saying, after they make the declaration, then Congress has to vote on that by 2/3 majority in both houses.
Okay.
Which is zero chance in the Senate. I mean, zero.
Right.
Zero chance in either house.
Yeah.
For 2/3
for 2/3.
I think, which is why I think it's a media play. Nancy may be befuddled, but she knows how to count, and she knows that the media is on her side.
Oh yeah.
Well, and Nancy knew that there was absolutely no chance she was going to get Trump impeached and removed from office. So impeachment was good enough for her. I honestly believe that she could really start moving this thing forward, knowing that there's no chance he's getting out of office, but like you intimated earlier, Rob, setting it up for Harris.
Okay.
One more comment. Brent says, Biden survived 4 years as president, more like 4 minutes with Harris as VP.
Right.
All right. We got one more story. We're late, but we got one more story we got to cover here. Michigan Governor, Mark and Patricia McCloskey are not out of trouble yet. A St. Louis grand jury has indicted them on felony counts of unlawful use of a weapon and evidence tampering. The McCloskeys contended that the handgun had been rendered inoperable so it could be used as a demonstration in court. The St. Louis Circuit Attorney had accused them of tampering, but her assistant, Chris Hinckley, had ordered the crime lab staff to field strip and found it incorrectly assembled. They then reassembled to make it operable and test fired it. This now throws the case back in Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt's lap. He filed a motion to intervene in the case in July. No matter what happens, the governor said he's going to pardon.
Mm-hmm.
So,
a grand jury would indict a grand jury would indict a ham sandwich?
Yes.
Well, okay, but the district attorney is wildly a leftist, and she needs to deliver to her partisan followers. She needs them to come to the polls. Is this anything more than electioneering before November, the first Tuesday? Amanda, what do you think?
Amanda, you're muted. I can see Amanda's lips moving, but I do not.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
So, what are they saying about tampering? Are they giving us any idea of where that tampering focus is? Because it looks as if Patricia McCloskey said in her own words that she knew that gun didn't work, and she had gone past a couple other guns that did work because she didn't. So she was like, this one I knew I could handle. So where are they focusing this thing about tampering? Because the gun was inoperable, or because they made it operable at the attorney generals or the police departments, wherever the crime lab. So that's pretty much the first question. And I have to say the McCloskeys are pretty darn lucky that both of them are attorneys, or it doesn't matter whether they're right or they're wrong. This could bankrupt you.
Yes, it could.
Right.
Easily.
Right. I think the grand jury is contending that they tampered with, they changed it after the event, but prior to police taking possession. So it's going to be up to the McCloskeys to prove that it was used and disabled prior to that it was used in a court case.
It should be pretty easy. If it was used in a court case, then it's documented there.
Right.
Right.
All right. Well, we were late before we started discussing this one. We are very late now. So let's go ahead and we're going to jump to break. We've got a DGU segment to come up, and we'll get to that right after we hear from Firearm Safety Institute.
Firearm Safety Institute is one of Northwest Illinois' premier firearm training companies. They provide superior firearm training to all levels of shooters. Gary Doherty has been a trainer and concealed weapons permit holder for many years. While living in Nevada, he carried legally and has the experience to train you to do the same. Firearms Safety Institute offers a wide range of courses designed to meet the personal needs of both seasoned shooters and those that are new to the world of firearms. If you are looking to apply for the Illinois Concealed Carry License, Firearms Safety Institute can provide you with the professional training that meets the state's requirements. Gary accommodates classes of all sizes and can provide individualized instruction if that is your personal preference. He's happy to work with you and your friends to arrange private classes and will come to your location and work around your schedule. If you would like to get your Illinois CCW or increase your firearm knowledge or skills, go to firearmsafetyinstitute.com to start the conversation. Mention the Polite Society podcast and receive a 10% discount on your training. Remember, that's firearmsafetyinstitute.com. Get your Illinois CCW today.
And welcome back to the Polite Society podcast powered by the Firearms Policy Coalition. This is our defensive gun use segment. And these discussions are not legal advice. Some of us are trainers, but this is not formal training, and you need formal training. The defensive gun use segment is intended as information, not training. And as always, the opinions of the hosts are only their own opinions, not those of any sponsors or other affiliations. Just a word to my staff. I'm going to go ahead and take the first one. It looks like the second one's already been assigned. So bear with me on this one, folks. This is a very complicated DGU. And this one comes out of Fayetteville, Arkansas. Fayetteville police received a 911 call from the resident of a home who reported an unknown male was inside with a gun. While they were on the phone, the caller reported they heard a gunshot. When officers arrived, they found the suspect being restrained on the ground by friends of the victim in the backyard of the residence. They found a man inside the home, dead of a gunshot wound to the chest. Now we're going to back up. About 1 a.m., a second victim said he arrived at the scene and saw someone who he assumed to be a friend inside the home. He entered the home, and the suspect held him at gunpoint for about 30 minutes. 30 minutes later, about 1:30, the residents and witnesses arrived at the house and saw one of the victims inside with the suspect. The victim ignored their knocks on the door and would not move. The resident walked to the rear of the house and kicked in the back door after not finding another way in. At that point, the victim being held at gunpoint had the keys to the house, and once entry was made into the house, he confronted the suspect. One of the victims made their way into the bedroom and got a gun, then re-entered the living room. The second resident was armed with a knife and was shot by the intruder once confronted by him. The other victim then tackled the suspect and began wresting the gun away from him. During the struggle, the gun went off a few more times. He was able to disarm the thug, then began hitting him with the gun in the backyard. The intruder was transported to the police department, where he admitted entering the home through the open garage door, which he shut after entering. He acquired the gun from one of the bedrooms and used it to shoot one of the victims. During questioning on site, he attempted to flee a second time and was taken to the ground and restrained in handcuffs. Rob, man, you're first up in show notes. What do you think, bud?
It sounds like the original victim was shot after friends intervened. If this speaks loudly to the point of your home isn't safe, about a third of all aggravated assaults take place in the home. And up in your shelf back there, I'll get it when I know I'm needed in a dangerous situation is too late.
And the other thing I want to bring up on this one is bad guy is the first person there. Bad guy is going through the house, finds gun. Victim comes home and is being held at gunpoint with his own gun. Then the intervention comes in. By the way, I don't know that I'm going to want to intervene in a hostage situation. I'm going to let the paid professionals do that. But it's when the intervention happens, somebody confronts this guy with a knife, they get shot, and basically it sounds in the story like they all dogpiled on the bad guy and got the gun away and started beating him with the gun. It may be a DGU, but I think we can point this one out as absolutely the way not to do it.
It's one of those where we will learn from a better example.
Yeah.
Dana, did you have something?
It was a rifle. Well, it was a rifle, not a knife, Paul. And he was the one who was shot by the one with the rifle was the one who got shot by the intruder. The news write-up was extremely confusing and a mess, and it took a reading about 3 or 4 different articles before I finally made some sort of sense out of what had happened. But yeah, I mean, I think the first guy walked into the house thinking it was somebody he was meeting at the home, a friend of his who was meeting him at the house, with all the rest of the people showing up 30 minutes later. I don't know if they'd been out to the bar and they were coming home after spending some time there or what. It didn't say. But I think things were okay until the second resident entered the home and grabbed the rifle, and then that's when all hell broke loose, so to speak.
Well, Paul, do you want to spend time on doing the lessons learned on that?
Sure. We got, over almost 10 minutes left of the segment.
Well, okay. So you see someone who's holding an innocent party at gunpoint. The time to discuss and make yourself visible and play John Wayne and unhand that man isn't there.
Right.
Isn't the right thing to do, even if the time is there. You're facing an immediate, unavoidable, lethal threat. Time to talk's over. And if you haven't thought that through, don't go get a gun because you don't know how to use it.
I'm going to go once again to the police needed to be on the way right away. And
hopefully, yeah.
And I don't know that unless I've got a firearm that I know, and I know that I have the ability to make that shot, I don't know that I'm going to intervene, because hostage rescue shots are unbelievably tough. And, I don't know.
John or Paul, yes. When you and I think of stacked people, on the other hand, maybe there's another side window. But because the initial situation looks bad. Yeah.
But
all right.
It doesn't matter. No matter what, it isn't kick in the door. Here I am to save the day.
Yes.
I think that's the theme song for Underdog, not for Friends after a couple drinks.
Yeah, I agree.
We ready to go on?
I'm ready. Our next DGU comes to us from Anderson, South Carolina. At 9:30 a.m., when 3 people tried breaking into a home, the homeowner caught the 3, and then when one of them made a move towards him, he felt threatened, and he fired at least one time, striking one of the suspects. Before that, the homeowner had shot the tire of the criminal's truck. I'm not sure why. He had been a victim of a break-in a few years earlier. The other 2 unshot intruders fled the scene. Deputies brought in a K9 unit and ATVs to track the other 2. Deputies reported capturing a second suspect, a woman, shortly after the burglary. The third criminal was apprehended later that evening after another neighbor found him near the original location. The Anderson County Coroner's Office said the suspect who was shot had injuries that were not life-threatening. I understand that he was actually shot in the hip. Rob?
This sounds like a great story. Almost. We've got an armed homeowner. Great for him. He was armed in time. He confronted people who had no business being at his home. Somebody explain to me why I need to shoot at a truck to save a life. Amanda, you got to...
I'm saying I can see it. Shoot the tire, keep them from getting away. This truck had no place, and nothing good comes and so they were like, okay, this has happened to me before. They're not leaving in this truck. There you go. Done.
But wait a minute. You're stopping someone from fleeing.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying you can see.
You're saying that was the motivation. Okay.
You can see how it happens, which it necessarily is not right, but you can see that. You can see the thought process.
Unless they were trying to run you over with the truck, then I can see shooting the tire.
Right. Well, it is the upstate of South Carolina.
I didn't want to say
That is true.
That means what, John?
Now it
I
all
live in
makes
Western
sense.
North Carolina. We look down on it. Literally.
Does that mean there was probably a still in the back, or
banjo music?
Could be.
It all makes sense now.
wow? All right, I'm going to try to get us back on schedule here. I think we're going to go ahead and we're going to leave this there. We're going to step aside for one more break, and then we're going to come back. We're going to be talking about blog notes, and we're going to close the show out. So hang on. We'll be right back right after hearing from Jews for the Preservation of Firearms Ownership.
In 1928, Germany required its citizens to register their firearms, making possible Hitler's 1938 Nazi Weapons Act, disarming all Jews. Now ask yourself, what is the real consequence of registration? All in favor of gun control, raise your right hand. Brought to you by Jews for the Preservation of Firearms Ownership, America's aggressive civil rights organization. JPFO.org.
And welcome back to the Polite Society Podcast, powered by the Firearms Policy Coalition. This is our final segment. This is our listener feedback and blog note segment. And I got to be honest with you, I not yet. I every day we go to do these, I intend on looking to see if we've got any emails. I forgot to do it today. I've had so much going on that I can talk about in 2 weeks, but I can't talk about now. That I didn't get it done. But if you would like to email the show, it's on air at politicsandguns.com. I promise you that I will have, if there are any emails, I'll have them up next week. I really would prefer if you would, every Monday night, 5 p.m. Central, come join us on Facebook or on YouTube and comment on the live show. And we'll address your comments right there, and it's much more immediate, and I love that. But if you've got to email us, it's on air at politicsandguns.com. Rob, you've had some electricity with the exception of hurricane. Have you been posting over at Slowfax?
Sporadically. I did, rode through a couple hurricanes and seeing widespread destruction up close. Renewed my commitment to help my neighbors. Most of us share that impulse. Now, unfortunately, our compassion also means we can be manipulated by politicians and the mainstream media. It means the media is eager to blame Trump if someone physically attacks a BLM riot. Our moral outrage would sway the election if someone shoots into the riot. The blame on Trump will be halfway around the world before EMTs arrive and weeks before the facts are known. I hope that we stay sane and that no one manipulates us by attacking a riot as a setup for this election. My articles are up at Clash Daily, at AmmoLand, and at my blog, slowfax.wordpress.com. John, tell us what's new at your blog. No lawyers, only guns and money.
Well, I have a number of election-oriented posts up. In one I discuss Mark Kelly, who is running as a Democrat for the U.S. Senate from Arizona. Despite being the co-founder of a gun control organization, he really doesn't want to talk about gun control on the campaign trail. He'd rather Arizona gun owners forget about that and think, what a wonderful guy he is on health care. And speaking of Arizona, there's a rumor that Wayne and company are seeking an endorsed candidate to run against Frank Tate for the 76th director. In my opinion, this is stupid for two reasons. Number one, the New York Attorney General is looking for any excuse to dissolve the NRA, and I would not be surprised if they have a representative at the annual meeting. Second, one director out of 76 is not going to be able to change things. But, as the great philosopher Forrest Gump has noted, stupid is as stupid does. That and more is at onlygunsandmoney.com.
All right, very cool. I want to mention before we go away the Facebook listeners group, as I do every week, and we're getting listeners in there every week. We got new people in there. Please join. Search Facebook for Polite Society Podcast listeners. A lot of great discussions going on in there. And now that I'm free of working 70 hours a week for somebody else, I may be able to spend more time in there. That does wrap up another episode of the Polite Society Podcast. I'd like to thank Kevin Sona for joining us today. So for Amy, Dana, Gary, Tracy, John, Susan, Amanda, Robin, and Rob.
Until next time.
Stay safe.
Be aware.
And we'll see you down the road.
The views and opinions on the show you just heard are those of the host and the guest and are not necessarily the views of any sponsors or other affiliations. But hey, not everyone is as smart as we are.
Okay, we are clear of recording. I'm going to stop the stream in just a second. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and come join us next